On top of that, we have an unexpected guest, Mr. Guy Aitchison, decided to pipe in and say hello. So, man needs no introduction, but let's hear what Guy has to say this morning.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to, let you know how much I appreciate you broadcasting through Reinventing the Tattoo, and we're really excited to get content like this on our channel, and people in the industry interviewing each other and showing off each other's work, promoting their and others' work. It's this is what's made tattooing strong, is the fact that we aren't just an industry, we're a community as well. And that, it's this kind of connection that allows us to be able to build each other. And Billy, thanks for joining us. Billy and I were just talking about New Orleans. I guested down there and get Jackie Gresham's shop probably in 1991 or something like that. And Jackie is the one who apprenticed Billy. And he's about to get interviewed by Marc here. And I'm sure it's going to be loaded with history. I'm going to put it on audio while I go and set up the tattoo studio. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys both for coming here and creating this kind of awesome material. And I look forward to hearing what you guys have to talk about.
Very cool. Thanks, Guy, for joining us. Always an inspiration. And yeah, man, you're welcome anytime. And thanks for having us.
It's nice to talk to you, man. I'm gonna get your phone. Call you.
Yeah, good meeting you, Billy. And I'm gonna actually move over to the app and give this a listen now.
Okay, cool, man.
Right on.
Thanks again, Guy. All right, Billy, man, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, man. It's a nice morning over here in Mississippi land.
Yeah, nice. A little warmer down there than it is here. We're sub-freezing.
Cold or really hot. So you leave with shorts on, but you bring a pair of jeans and a jacket, and then it's just this place is very unpredictable.
New England, you never know when you either want to be on the boat or the snowmobile. But anyways, I Billy, you know me, I try not to do too much like the interview type of thing. I really like to just kind of sit back and shoot the shit with old friends and, talk a little bit about tattooing history, where we've been, hopefully maybe try and anticipate where we're going to. You, sir, have quite a bit of history for not a very old man. So you're an accomplished tattooer, motorcycle builder, musician, writer, write for Popular Magazine, and now you're adding actor. So to me, I'm the kind of guy that does an awful lot, but you kind of put me to shame there with the many different careers. So Guy was just saying you had apprenticed under Jackie, and I wasn't sure if that was the case or she just became a mentor in your early years. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your beginning?
Well, I started out. I didn't have any tattoos, and I never wanted them. I grew up in a Salvation Army. My parents were Salvation Army preachers, and I grew up in that environment. And that environment cultivated music and speaking to people and helping people. So I got like a sense of business, how to be a business-like at an early age, and I got a very great musical education. I learned to play any instrument that I wanted to. So I started out with brass instruments, and I ended up playing guitar. And of course, I heard rock music for the first time. So from that time on, music was my thing, man. I got to school. I realized that school was not my thing, and I developed my drawing talent. So although I made straight F's in school at times, I made straight A's in my mind with drawing, because I envisioned what I wanted to be in life, and then I draw that. So I drew myself in various situations, but I tried sports, and didn't work out. It wasn't my thing. Running, I really took to that, but that's not a team sport. So I never got the team thing. I was always, doing my own thing. And I got into bicycles. I freestyled everywhere. I'd play hooky from school. I'd run away from home for a day or so and riding miles and miles and miles doing freestyling and trick bike riding. And, you know, I discovered motorcycles for the first time. I was like going to the corner store, and then I heard this big rumble outside, and had a gallon of milk, and I had a slushie in the other hand. I ran out the door, and I saw like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dirty, scary bikers, man. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I dropped the milk and exploded, and my dad was going to kick my butt. So somehow I managed to scrape enough to get some milk back, and get that home. But that motorcycle thing got to me. So later in life, I piddled around with bikes here and there and never really committed to them, stayed with freestyling and all, and ran away from home with a guitar, and I went to New Orleans because I lived in Shreveport at the time, and I went to New Orleans, and I lived down there on the streets for about 3 or 4 years, and I had a bicycle, I had my guitar, and I had a Bible, and that's what pretty much kept me safe those years. And after a while, I ventured up to Mississippi, and I began working for PV Electronics, and I was going to be an artist there. Well, when I got there, this is about 89, I had a green mohawk and, you know, pretty much looked like, you know, I was punk rock. I was original gutter punk back then, but we had style, though. We didn't look like, you know, hobos or nothing. But so basically, I went and applied for this job to be as an artist for them. And being in Mississippi at the time, I did not fit in, and they wasn't having it. So they kicked me out of the building. And I was living in Salvation Army there, and I went around, I heard a band playing, and I went around the corner and I heard this band playing, and it was like playing like, you know, heavy metal, like Testament and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, there's a metal band in Mississippi. So I went around the corner, and I saw this guy on the porch, and he was a Native American like me. And I said, hey, man, what kind of Indian are you? And he said to me, well, what kind of Indian are you? And I was like, damn, man, I guess I found friends, man, you know, that I can identify with. So I ended up moving to the reservation and living there for a while. And we started messing around with tattoos and all. And what drove me to tattoos was, you know, my heritage. I'm a Cherokee, and we heavily tattooed ourselves. So fast forward years later, and living in a van, playing music all over the South and in my band, I realized if I wanted to get somewhere, I needed money, and I needed it fast. I need money. I needed steady money. I needed quick money. So I knew that being criminal was probably not my forte or anything like that. So I was like, what can I do to make a living, and what can I do to really get somewhere in life quickly? And I said, well, the best thing I could do is I'm an artist, man, you know, because making money, music was what I wanted to do, and it wasn't happening. So one of my brothers said, hey, why don't you do tattoos? I was like, tattoos? I don't think so, man. I don't think that's me, man. You know, I didn't want people to touch me, and especially living on the streets, man, I was real don't touch me kind of guy, you know. So I gave it some thought. I didn't have any money to get any tattoo equipment, so I went to a local scary tattoo guy. And it was this old biker guy named Junior, and you can imagine with the name on Junior that he's a big, scary MFer, man. And he pretty much told me that I can get tattoo equipment out of back of tattoo magazines. So I tracked one down, and I got me a hook spalling set up. I used my money from going to college, and then I became a tattoo artist. So for 3 years, I just, you know, I read A to Z 100,000 times. So I imagined tattooing in my mind. So I worked it out, everything in my head. So when I got my kit and all that, it just seemed natural to me. I just could do it, you know. Back then, you know, we didn't have YouTube or anything like that. So a book was the best thing you could have. And that book was awesome back then. So I tattooed with this book next to me for about 3 years. And I realized that I don't feel like a tattoo artist. I don't feel like I'm a tattooer at all. So I was like, I got to go learn from someone and submit myself and find an apprentice. But I knew that the junior type was not for me because they would beat me up, and I didn't want to get beat up. I wanted to be a lover and not a fighter, you know. So all these magazines. I remember seeing Judy Parker's name in there. I remember seeing Guy. He was in back in tattoo back in the day, and I studied those books with a microscope. I really mulled over them, but I kept seeing this person's name, Jackie, and I wasn't sure if Jackie was a man or a woman because I'm part French too, and men are named Jackie too. So some kept telling me, you need to go talk to this person. This is the person for you to help you get where you need to go. So finally I did. I rode back down there to New Orleans, and I walked in the shop down on Rampart, and I walked in the door, and there was this fella named Ali there. Well, I thought he was Jackie because he had an English accent and he looked like he was foreign and all that. So I said, hey man, is your name Jackie? He said, hell no, she's down there on 9th Street. I mean, down on St. Claude, at the other shop. So I was like, oh shit. I took everything I could to walk in this tattoo shop, and to say, hey, let me do tattoos, please, So I would go all the way down to St. Claude, and then I'm in the 9th Ward. So this is not, if you've been to New Orleans, it can get rough real quick. So I'm in the worst part that I can imagine in New Orleans. I get out of my car, walk in this door, and there's like 150 black people in there, all getting tattooed, waiting to get tattooed, and they're getting names on them all day long, man. It's like the deal there was that you get Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, you get a name for $25 and you get a free tattoo with it. So people saw a free tattoo, they go in there and you get this cursive name, which I have right there. You can see them. These are the cursive style names that Jackie did. And this was like the early 90s. So this is Jackie's deal, man. And I'm telling you what, I tattoo like 80 names a day at 15%. And I made money, man. And I did it 3 times a week and I loved it. I didn't give a crap. But anyway, I remember going in there and I was like, oh, I'm shaking. I'm scared. I don't know what to do in there because I hear this lady barking orders and all that. And I see her and I'm like, there's this 6'3" or, mocha colored, beautiful lady there who looked like Marie Laveau. She's got this thing going on, like this voodoo thing going on. I was like, oh God, I got to talk to her. So I showed her my portfolio and she says, she's like, and all that, looking at it. And I was like, I like that, but that looks like crap. I was like, oh no, I said, please, ma'am, can I please just hang around? I'll sweep the floor or whatever. I'll mop up or whatever you want to do. She says, no, I got somebody to do that, but you be back here in 2 days and I'll put you to work. I was like, yes. So I came back and that was the first meeting with her. And I tell you what, I worked for her 7 years and she took me around. I got to meet Judy Parker and some of the great people, Mel the Head. I don't know if people know about that guy, but he's these really colorful characters. Mel the Head did the Motor City show years ago in Cobo Hall. And then I got to meet Billy Tinney. I got to meet all the great people, man. I mean, I can sit here and name on them. All of a sudden, I was thrust into this greatness with tattooing, and the guys that I grew up with, working at that shop down there, they were amazing artists. We drew everything, and we drew it and drew it. We do flash off the walls, and it was a big contest and all that, But that was the real good time in tattooing. The 90s were, the money was good. It was real competitive. Everybody's excited about it. There was the big head thing wasn't really a thing like it is now. It wasn't a fashion show. It was a tattoo show, But I did my time there. Anybody can tell you if they work for Jackie, she demands excellence. There's no other thing that you can do but be excellent there. And if you ain't, get the hell out of the building and come back when you are ready to be excellent.
Now, what year was it you started with Jackie?
I think I started with her in 95, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. 93 is when I started. I went into business in 93 as Mississippi Dermographics, and I tried to sound intelligent, I thought I made the name up, but I just put the 2 words together. It's like Dermographics. That sounds like I know what I'm doing. So I went to business in 93, and I get phone calls. People ask me if I can do maps for them. of their house or whatever. And I was like, what? They thought I was talking about, map making, which demographics. And I was like, no, that's demographics, man, but would you want a tattoo instead of
I
a
can
map?
tattoo a globe on your skin.
Yeah, for sure. I've been in business around 27 years now.
Yeah, we're getting old. But,
You think so, but our souls don't. Our souls are always here, and our souls never really. We just keep accumulating. These experiences we're having, just like we are now. And so I feel like even though our bodies get old, and our minds don't get old with them. You see a lot of people that make 100, man. They're sharp.
Yeah. No, we were talking the other day a little bit about like having so many different interests and whatnot, and it's kind of cool because the business we're in can allow us to have a lot more free time, than your average John Doe or whatever, to pursue other interests and stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy that you've been pretty successful in each of your ventures. It's most people can't do that. They either got to lock down on one, or some people can maybe juggle two, but you've managed to do a lot more than most here. So, all right, so we know a little bit about your tattooing start, and how did you get into bike building and then that part of your life, and tell us about your writing.
All right, I had a great friend of mine. He was working for me for a while. He's an older cat. He was he learned machine building from Paul Rogers. His name's Mickey Nichols, and Mick Nichols lives down on the coast. He's a biker, man. He grew up in the generation before me, back when it was scary dangerous, and he tattooed down there on the coast. He tattooed in Slidell, just about anywhere in New Orleans area or in lower Louisiana when it was dangerous. Like the junior guy, he had to work with those kind of guys, but that never ever changed him. His first experience was getting tattooed at 14 or so. He lied and got in the Army. And then he was in India and got tattooed on the back. Well, anyway, he was working for me and up in here in Meridian, and he had a bunch of old Iron Horse magazines, and I was, of course, drawn to them because, I said it's infatuation with motorcycles, even though I never really took the plunge in it. So I kept stealing his magazines and reading them, just like I did tattoo magazines. I started scouring them and seeing what's going on and how they're doing them and why they do this and that. And one day he's like, "Hey, dude, somebody gave me a Honda 750 Ford. Do you want it? Because then you can stop stealing my magazines." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it."
Still CB 750s?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I worked on one of those for a while.
You know what? I rode it around for about 6 months, and I had that thing tore completely apart. And I didn't know what to do with it. I know I wanted to chop it. I wanted to chop it up and make it something like mine. So I started scouring Harley magazines, and I looked, and I remember that all of them, they were like $30,000 bike type stuff. It was all back when the chopper craze was happening. And so I ran across a magazine. It said the Horse magazine, it said the Horse Backstreet Choppers magazine. And on the front of it, it had a picture of a guy on a Honda, and it said it was chopping a spaghetti bike. And it was written by a good friend of mine now. But then, his name is Sean XSB Sweeney. And Sean he wrote for the magazine back then. And I saw that. I was like, man, this is exactly what I'm doing. So I got the magazine. I read it 35,000 times, and I put my bike together. And so right then I was hooked on the horse, man. I got every issue. I did the same thing, got my magnifying glass out, and I studied everything I could about chopping a motorcycle and all that. And, with tattooing, we have a lot of seat time, but then like Coach Spalding says, if there ain't no business and you're feeling like crap, go fishing. Well, what I did instead of go fishing, I record music or whatever like that, or I went and bought a welder, and I taught myself how to weld, and I taught myself how to shape steel. And so when I wasn't tattooing, in the back of my tattoo shop came a bike shop, and I started cutting up gas tanks and stitching them back together. And I remember I started using computer a lot more at that time, and I got on the web and I joined Backtalk forums. That's when forums were kicking ass back then, and basically I joined the forum. I started meeting people online, and you know, that's basically how it came to be. You know, are we still on or what?
Oh yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's just I just like listening to what you're saying, man, because like I mean, we've known each other, you know, what shit.
It's got to be 10 years, man. I'm thinking. I mean,
I'm thinking 12 plus anyways, you know, so it's you know, and just hearing your stories, it's truly inspiring and whatnot. So I'm trying not to, you know, interrupt. I get a bunch of
okay.
questions or things you mention. I want to run off on some random tangent
Yeah.
or whatnot, but I'm actually just enjoying listening, and I'm hoping the viewers are too. So
Well, this is one thing I want to say to the viewers: or if you're a tattoo artist, and don't spend all your time sitting in that chair, man. Don't spend all your time drawing. You know, if you have your skills down and you are a professional now, yes, always work on your skills, but do that when, you know, when it's time to get on stage, you get up there and you do your thing. That's the same thing as tattooing. You're on a stage. You are an entertainer also, you know, and do your
So real
craft.
quick, speaking of viewers, we've got Adrian is in the chat room there. We've did an interview with him recently.
Hey, Adrian.
hey Adrian, how you doing, brother?
We've got D. Michelle Leftwich, hello from Maryland. Dave Yazzie, sup from Amarillo, Texas. Ryan Mistasnis, sup from Maryland. Rasta says Est, might be from France.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining. But back with your inspirational, motivational speech there, Billy.
Okay. All right. Basically, what I'm saying is, you know, like you have a lot of seat time. So when you can, you got to get out of the seat, man, because that seat's going to keep you from living, man. So when you don't have nothing else to do, man, you know, do things that you're passionate about. If you're into like for me, it was, I mean, I'm into creating things. So I mean, I've learned how to cut and weld. I've learned how to shape metal. We know that. I've learned how to carve wood carvings. During Hurricane Katrina, I got my chainsaw out and went to town on 100-year-old, you know, oak trees and made all these tikis. And then I started another thing. I started a big show. I threw a Halloween show over here called Burning Tiki Man. I did it like 8 years, and I got into writing for the motorcycle magazine, and that job right there took me way far. You know, I become friends with some of the most famous bike builders in the industry, like Bill Dodge. He's like he's one of my mentors, and he's one of my close brothers. He cut his teeth with the likes of Indy Larry and Jesse James. He was Jesse James' top guy back in the day, you know, when West Coast Choppers. But you know, digging out in your life, or you know, reaching out in your life and different things that you do have with you, it's going to enrich your tattooing as well. You know, if you got stories to tell to your clients and that are true about you, man, I mean, that just makes it more interesting. But you become interesting to yourself, if that makes sense. You're not just a tattoo artist; you're a multimedia artist.
Yeah.
You know, the sky's the limit. You know.
Well, I don't usually like too many of the shows that are, you know, anything that's written about tattooing or whatever and,
Right.
and whatnot. And I didn't even watch that. I caught clips of that series that you were in there for a little bit, but I just sat down, seeing how we were going to do this. I just sat down and I pushed through the whole thing. And I got to say, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Just
What, tattoos and turnpikes?
Yeah, tattoos and turnpikes, man. It was fun. It was enjoyable. And I like the way it tied in, you know, I mean, most tattooers out there definitely have an interest in bikes or the hot rod culture. They definitely have an interest in music. And it seems like those three are seriously like intertwined and connected somehow where you almost can't escape one of them at all, you know? And
Right.
I like the way that little series pulled all those in together. And it was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. In fact, I got to get back in and I watched the reunion parts and a few of the other interviews out there because
I couldn't make those. I was still on the road from Sturgis.
yeah, it was
But
it was it was like I said, just a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be, and it was very well put together, man. How did you guys get that done? I mean, did you have some big investors? I mean, this couldn't have been something you guys were
actually we did have some and they somehow like to be not named very much, but if you see on the show, you'll see one fellow named Billy a lot. There's a picture of a guy that floats that we carry throughout the show. Tattoos and Turnpikes is an anti-tattoo show. So it's brainchild of my good friend and brother, Big Dave Kanoy. And Big Dave has the ink spot in Troy, Michigan. He actually has 2 of them now. And actually, I think he had an experience, about doing a tattoo show. And of course, it's like the bike shows too. They got silly. They wanted you to have arguments or some negative deal about someone else and have some big competition. And in the end, bam, this is nothing like that. There's no acting in it at all. And it's quite the opposite. We don't want all that. Yes, at times there were some testy moments, but it was because of poor choices on the road or danger. We was some real dangerous times when you're riding 4 guys on a motorcycle for 2.5 weeks, and you got all this traffic, and you got rain, you got sleet, you got grandmas driving by you, that can barely see over the board, and coming in on your lane, things like that would happen. But it was about being positive. It was about sharing, like we are now. We're doing like interviews. We wanted to go out there and do an unscripted thing. Whatever happened, and we captured it. And there was like times that we were like, "There's no way that happened," but it did happen because that's the way life is. Life is unexpected, and you laugh, or you cry, or you get mad and punch your friend in the nose, or whatever. And that's what Tattoos and Turnpikes was. And I know we caught that. I know. The problem.
Well, there was no drama. That's probably why it wasn't picked up for any sort of syndication. But I liked it though; it was good. A lot of people should check it out.
Turned quite a few people down because of that. They want the Big D channel. I'm not going to give anybody. I'm not going to name any straight up, but you know who the Big D is. They wanted us twice. The first time, they wanted us to. They wanted to script the show, and Dave said, "Nah, we're not doing that." And then the next time they wanted us to follow an actor around instead of Dave. Dave's our guru, and he is a guru. But they wanted us to follow around an actor off of what's that biker TV show? We can't mention none of that shit, can we? The ones that are all in California.
NDAs.
yeah, they're all like riding and stuff, and got the guns and but anyway. One of the guys on that show, they want us to follow him around. They're like, "Nah, we ain't doing that. That just can't happen. We would beat that guy up. That guy would get beat up. I would beat him up just to say I did it." Yeah. But that show, man, it was so positive, man. And the thing about it too is the episodes we have now, they were supposed to be like the standard 45 or 50 minutes or something, with commercial breaks and all. But because it was totally self-funded. And we weren't going to change the show. We wanted to be just like it is. We had to cut it down to the half segments. So there was so much footage and stuff and so much cool shit that happened. I wish that we could have put it on there, but after watching the entire series and everything on that, I know we captured what we wanted to, and it gave the gist of the show. This is the thing about it though. Hollywood and us, we're different people. They think they know what we want, but we do know what we want. So when we put Tattoos and Turnpikes together, I mean, we've had nothing but great reviews for it. People can relate to it.
Well, I think people like us, we want to show our real worlds, and Hollywood can't capitalize on that because, our lives are somewhat exciting and whatnot at times, but other times they're boring and mundane and it's work, and that's what we do. So they can't capitalize on it. And if we don't let them capitalize on it, then they're not interested. And that's where you get that division. So going back to the show for a quick second though, now you weren't originally like a member of that. They were just driving by, and you were like a stop along the way, and then you somehow ended up joining the crew for the majority of the rest of the series, right?
Yeah, basically, Facebook's awesome. I mean, for what it's intended to be, what it's used for, that's anybody's guess, or what as far as that goes. But somehow I became friends with Dave. I'm more connected in the motorcycle industry, I think, and somewhat in the music industry than I am in the tattoo industry. But and Dave's part of the motorcycle industry too. We all have bike builder friends and all that. So somehow I became friends with him. I saw his post talking about, he had his bad experience with a TV show, and he was thinking about doing his own show. And so I started watching him and all that. And then all of a sudden, he really put it together. And that's the way Dave is. He puts his mind on something, then it's on the table when it's happening. So I saw that he was going, his route was to start in St. Louis area or Troy, and he was going to go all the way to Key Largo and then back up in another route back to St. Louis. So I was like, I didn't see that he had really the right people that he could get on a show. So I was like, man, I know all these people that he should get, like Warren Lane, Billy Lane's brother. He's a super motorcycle scientist. One of my childhood friends too, Gabe Smith, famous Gabe. He's in Pensacola, Florida. Me and him started tattooing together when we first began. Then I was like, dude, if you're going to do this show and you're coming through Texas and Louisiana, you got to go see my master, Jackie. And so basically I started setting him up with these people, and he said, dude, I want to do a show with you too. So I was like, well, okay. I'll do one with you for sure. And because I'm even though I'm a tattoo artist, I'm really known for being a journalist and for the Force magazine. I'm a writer for them. I have a syndicated column for them for 10 years. So I told them, look, I'm gonna meet y'all in New Orleans, and they were like, well, if you do that, we want you to introduce Jackie. It seemed fitting. So that's how it started. So all of a sudden, I'm on that show with them with Jackie, which was a great honor. And then my wife, Crystal Blue, she came down. We met them down there, and then we ended up doing the French Quarter with them. And if you watch the show, then you see how Spacey acts, man. You see how I lose my card somehow, and some crazy wolf guy finds it, and I have no idea, and I'm already spent like $150 on gumbo in a restaurant, and then it's a real cool adventure there. But so then the next day they ride up to Meridian. I meet them up there. We do my show, and we're just hitting it off, man, the whole time. Their truck explodes. They fix it in my garage. I got in my motorcycle. I have a motorcycle shop called Lucky Loser Choppers that I also own and operate. I build motorcycles out of. So they come down there, and we do the motorcycle thing down there. And I didn't know that they were talking about it. They asked me while they're filming it if I wanted to go ride with them the rest of the way. And I looked at my wife, and I looked at my two boys, Sabian and Michael, and they were like, yeah, let's go. So I said, yeah, let's go. So next thing I know, I got on my bike Indian Giver, and we're blasting down the freeway, man. And we head down to see, awesome enough, we go see my buddy Gabe Smith down in Pensacola at Hula Moon. And Gabe is an amazing artist. He's an amazing painter. He's just always been like that. He's crazy as hell. I know this because I've been crazy as hell with him. Punk rock. He is punk rock. He is the epitome of 90s punk rock. And but we went down there and we got to we interviewed him, and it just clicked, man. I've been interviewing people for quite a while with the motorcycle magazines, but getting to do it like that, where we're tattooing and interviewing at the same time, it was just really awesome. A lot of old stories come out. Let's see. After that, we went to see a fellow named Jeremiah, and he's down in Jeremiah McCabe. Have you heard of him?
No. I mean, the name kind of sounds a little familiar, but nobody I know personally.
Yeah, we got to see him. He's young new schooler guy. He was down in Tampa. Then we did some, like we went and saw Bill Dodge, my best friend there, and the writing, all the writing and all that, it just worked good. This is the thing. There was a synopsis to the show, and it was, you have motorcycles, you have tattoos, and you have music. And why do these three things always show up together? In my shop, I'm blasting rock and roll, man. Sometimes I do other stuff too, of course. I love all music. But if you're in a tattoo shop, what do you hear? You hear music, whatever the person's into or the vibe of the shop, that's what's blasting out in the music, man. It gets people, blood pumping, But then, you go outside and you see a motorcycle or two sitting out in front of them, So they're all three there. And what we did, we said to each person, what do you think brings these three things together? And everybody had kind of the same answer, but their own twist on it. And it really worked, man. I really enjoyed it. It was a lifetime experience, Mark. I'm going to tell you, man. We can do it again. We have a season 2 planned out, and we want to go west. We want to go to different parts of the country, and then probably we like to go to Canada or to Mexico or some other places too. But this COVID thing really has kind of put a damper on things.
It's a crazy world, but like back to the three, I think it comes down to the fact that people in each of those groups kind of like to at least bend, if not break the rules at times. We just don't. I've always said that tattooers we're a group, we're a community that generally just doesn't fit anywhere else. So that's how we all sort of find each other here. And I think musicians and bikers kind of fall into the same category where, we can't quite live by other people's rules. And,
right.
we accept that as each other, we do bend and break those rules, and we're more accepting of that because, we don't want anything forced on us. That's how I look at it, I guess.
Well, you and I both are from that generation, the generation before the motorcycle crowd did rule, motorcycle clubs, they did rule the tattoo industry. It was mainly biker owned. I've got a good friend down there in Daytona Beach. His name's Willie Jones, and he's been around since the 90s in the shop he's in now, but he's old school biker. He runs a Tropical Tattoo in Daytona Beach, and ain't nothing but bikes out front of that thing. He does like the most, I'd say the biggest, most famous chopper show in the world is Willie's Tropical Tattoo. He has a show called Chopper Time. He has it in Daytona Bike Week, and he has it in Biketoberfest, but he's still out there. He's still got his guys doing his thing, but we grew up in that time. It was more of a rough crowd and all that. It wasn't like it is now. You got a bunch of art students that joined the group,
I think the first 2 or 3 years I had my first studio, I was fully prepared to show up and find it burned down any morning, because after I had opened, I had come to the realization that I might have been too close to a guy up the road. His name was Cass, and he was a biker, 1%er, and I put no forethought into it really. I wasn't trying to offend anybody, but after the fact, it was brought to my attention, and I might be too close, and it could have been detrimental to my health. But overall, it worked out all right. But yeah, it was different days back then.
I got to tell you something. I had one of those terrible run-ins. I did get punched in the face, and I got my jaw broke. I lost a tooth. I never fixed it, so I remember it. Yeah, I got punched right in the face, man, for being in somebody's territory, and it was that guy named Junior. He, when Gabe and I, first it'll just be by myself tattooing, and then then Gabe came in and he started working with me, and so I feel like safety in numbers. But this guy, I didn't realize, that it was like that, but I found it pretty quick, and then I got 1%ers out front of my place, riding by, wait for us to come out, and I'd stay there for 3 days, you know, wouldn't come out, you know, but he ended up catching me in front of a Blockbuster video. I can say that now, this ain't business one, but yeah, he punched me in my face and broke my jaw and kicked me in my nuts, man. And he looked at me and I looked at him. He said, "You're not gonna do nothing, are you?" I was like, "No, man, I'm a kid. You're like a scary grown man." I was holding my jaw. So I actually was one of the ones that got smacked around. But you know what I did? I got my mouth wired shut for a little while, and I decided I was going to beat him by being a better artist and better businessman. And years later, I did. I became my territory. And I realized then that I didn't want to necessarily be like that. But
I don't think that's in your nature, Billy.
it's not in my nature. But then I realized that I did have to protect the territory, and by educating people that don't get homemade tattoos, go to a sterilized place, and you know, I realized that was how I needed to keep home people out of the business, man. I do what I could to either push them somewhere where they can learn how to do it or run them off, because you know there was a territory thing back then, and it took a while for us to change that, you know, and it took forward thinkers like yourself and myself to recognize that young people were like us. They need a place to go. They need to be trained properly, and if they're honest and they're willing to put in the work, well, we'll put in the work with them, and then
well, as long as you're willing to work harder than the guy down the road, you'll most likely be more successful than them. I mean, not that it has to be this intense competition of winners and losers. I mean, to be honest with you, there's plenty of room for everybody out there, as long as they're working hard, running a clean shop, and trying to be respectful. I mean, that's something that's really missing these days. Is there's not the respect that was in the industry, you know, respect/fear that was in the industry back when I started. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's kind of both. I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that we don't have to go out there and pound nobody on the ground like that guy did. But at the same time, it's a bad thing when you got people that are disrespectful to people like us who had to work with those people, and we went before them to help change the industry for the better that it is. And that's one reason why I could never watch some of these tattoo shows, because when I did and I saw the way they talk to each other, I thought, man, if someone ever talked to me like that, I'd knock their teeth out of their face, man. Or if I was in New Orleans, if anybody, when I was growing up there, working there, if anybody come in there and talk to one of those guys, they'd knock the teeth out of their face. You know, it's just like, you don't do that. You have respect, man. And
no, I had a guy that worked for me. That's quick funny story is he had we both had the front offices before the lobby there, and some guy come in on his bicycle, just rolled his bike right in, and our receptionist told the gentleman he needed to leave the bike outside, and he proceeded to ignore her, straddling his bike and still trying to get his questions answered in the shop. And this guy, Jamie, that worked for me, who was a big bear of a man, nicest guy, but the toughest guy at the same time. I proceeded to watch this guy, Jamie, get up, go around to the receptionist area, pick this gentleman up on his bicycle, the whole thing, and proceeded to toss them both out the front door. And and you know, it simple enough. If you can't be respectful, you're not going to be respected. But it just you couldn't even consider doing something like that nowadays without having, you know, the phone ringing off the hook by the attorneys within an hour. It's nuts.
Yeah, you know what? I was a pretty skinny kid growing up. When I got into boxing, I boxed for about 10 years. I know it's another thing, but you know, staying healthy has been a very important thing to me. So you know, I took up boxing, and I got bigger and all that, but and I got more aggressive with people. And there was a time where I had to do a lot of that sort of thing. But growing up in I have thrown a lot of people out. I mean, I've been in business 27 years. It's going to happen, you know. But I remember growing up working at a Rampart down there in Tech. He always had a door guy or somebody that goes like that, you know. things have changed though. People are more easy to get along with, you know. I think that like I said, I think the tattooing's gone in a great direction. I love all the new gadgets. I love all the ease of the equipment that we have now. And I grew up in the time where you built everything that you work with or maintained it.
That's how I started the business. Was the stuff I was buying from others generally needed upgrades. I mean, it was mediocre at best, and I had to refine it, and I had to redesign it, or sometimes make it from scratch. I mean, what's your consensus on the coils versus the rotary thing, man? How do you feel about that? Give us your straight opinion, man.
Well, they're our heritage, and I fortunately got to be around people that knew Paul Rogers and worked with him. Jackie was one of his lady friends. You know, he had a lot of ladies, lady friends that, he's an older guy. You know how he was, but he liked the company of younger ladies and all. How about that? Well, anyway, I've had some of his equipment in my hands at times. I've had some coils, I've had some A-bars and stuff like that. And holding that piece of history, man, really, I could feel it in it. It was like, wow, I've got this used up armature bar that has Paul Rogers stamped on the side of it. And I got to use it on a couple of machines. And Mickey Nichols, he had a bunch of Paul Rogers stuff because he learned how to build machines with him. So I love the contraption. I mean, from the time I heard that ticking that of the machine, man, I was just hooked on it, man. I ran the shit out of it, man. I ate up a bunch of coils, man, and just using them, running them too hard and all. I love every bit of it. My hands never wore out. I've never had any wrist problems or anything.
Knock on wood, brother.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I think it's because I play guitar so much in my life. I know how to use my hands to keep them from hurting them, But I remember when coils came out. I mean, I remember when rotaries came out, and we were like, man, that's junk. I remember when somebody come in shop, Jackie, see him with that. She's like, you get that piece of shit out of here. You're going to tattoo people with a real machine, or you're not working here, Because they weren't worth the shit back then. They were a step above jailhouse stuff. So I like new things. I like new gadgets. Obviously I've got a recording studio here in my house, and I've got tons of gadgets all over the place. And so I like the ideas of it, but I never could, just because that trying out the rotaries before, I was like, man, there's no power in them. When I do a line, I do a line. I don't do a line, and stuttering through it. I want to put that needle in the proper depth, and I want to make my line. I'm painting, what I'm saying, on people. You don't want your paint to run out in the middle of the line there. You'll see it, and so the same thing with tattoos. When my machine's got to work. So I made my coils work like that. I made my coil machines work like that. My shaders shaded beautifully. And they worked at my speed because I work fast. I have more of a fast pace that I work at. So I waited and watched, and I stayed loyal to the coil, which is a cool ass t-shirt, by the way. I stayed loyal to the coil, and I knew that I could use the sharpest needles, best made needles. And that's when I got turned on to you. And I've been with Needlejig all these years. I knew if I used these great products and I kept my machines tuned properly, and I was on them all the time. It took a lot of work to do that. That it takes a whole hell of a lot of work if you're working 10 hours a day with these coil machines, to keep these coil machines running perfect every damn day.
Yeah, you pretty much needed a tune up every morning.
Yeah, man, I tuned them up throughout the day, at times, and then I'm rebuilding one, and I've got 150 machines, and to choose from, but I only use 3, But I think it was, how long now it's been? I've been using cartridges. I switched to them, I think, about 2 years ago. I can't remember.
That was a big deal for you, man.
It was a big deal. I was like, I was calling y'all every minute seemed like during the day, man. I was like feeling like, oh man, these guys think I'm an idiot. I can't remember who was answering the phone back then. It was about 2 years ago, but man, he was always patient with me, and I didn't know what I should get. I didn't know if I should try the pin thing, which didn't feel right. I used a friend of mine's, and it just didn't feel right. I had to have that angle,
The back weight.
Yeah, I had to have that back weight, and so I was going to go with the Axis pin, and they didn't have any. And then the one they had was in a color I just could not look at every day. So I waited a little bit longer, and then they turned me on to the one, I don't know which model it's called, the one I use. It's it's got the back weight on it. It's an Axis.
The Feihu or their direct drive?
Direct drive, that one.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that thing is a mini weed eater, man. That thing sounds, especially when I use it, it sounds like I'm not, trimming the grass, man. But
that motor has a lot of torque. It's a strong.
It's got a lot of torque, and if you're working like I'm talking about, you need it, man. If you want to put a line in there the first time, especially if you're doing bigger lines, you got to have that torque behind it, and that thing works great. I don't need nothing else, man. I don't see that thing ever burning out. If it does, I'm buying another one.
Well, the torque on that also allows you to run it super, super slow. So a lot of guys use that to get that sort of like real peppery whip shading, or a lot of guys even use that. They slow it right down and do that stipple, like the real popular stipple geometric stuff these days. It's a pretty universal machine. It does an awful lot of things. Yeah.
I love all that. I love all that work. I really do. That machine is probably the most versatile thing I can think of. And I see the pins. I think they're all cool, but I don't think nothing, in my opinion, would probably, unless it's the same style direct drive thing, I don't think anything will come close to that thing, man. I'll bet the farm on that thing till I can't bet the farm anymore. Hey, let's talk about some of that geometrical stuff. I think that shit's amazing, man.
What's that?
Geometrical tattooing.
Oh yeah. What's a little bit weird is like when I was a kid, I used to draw with a ruler, like everything. I used to draw so much geometrical, bizarre stuff. Use compasses and rulers and French curves and all kinds of crazy things. When I would draw as a kid, I was never really a freestyle type of an artist,
Right.
but there was nothing in the world to do with that artistically or whatever. And then I, through my whole tattoo career, I did mostly, I won't say traditional, neo-traditional, some black and gray stuff like this. But about the time where I tattoo a whole lot less or hardly at all anymore now something comes out that I truly could probably be super passionate about, man. And that's the hot, trendy thing now. So it's just like, man, bad timing on my part.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny that these designs, these patterns, really kind of mimic what in my native heritage, the way we tattooed ourselves throughout the North American continent. And actually, I'm a Cherokee, but I'm also on my dad's side. We have Iroquois in us, and if you go back and look at our designs, our bodies have patterns. The whole body has a pattern. It's not random tattoos on us necessarily. We have a pattern uniform look that's unique to each person, and that's what these remind me of. Especially when I see a lot of people from Europe. I think I started seeing it in Europe first, but now it's sweeping the nation, or sweeping the world. But these patterns though that we have, they had a lot of meanings to them. So but I think people now, they more are decorating their bodies with them. I think they're amazing. And it's helped me do something that I'm doing that you may be interested in doing. So you have some projects in tattooing going on. Yes, if that's your thing, then maybe you want to do maybe 5 or 6 subjects in the patterns that you work out with them yourself, Mark. Well, I'm doing that right now with Native American. I'm doing Native American subjects, friends of mine that are. What I'm doing is I'm going way back, 1,000 years, or taking designs, and I'm doing their whole bodies that way.
Now, in the traditional art form, or are you taking that older art in trying to use contemporary methods to modernize it? Which way are you headed with that?
Well, I've actually done hammer tattooing, and it's just, it's just not the way to do it. Time and all that, and it's just not the way to do it. And accuracy, we want it to look the best, right? So we're going to use the best methods that we can. So I'm going to use modern methods to do these ancient tattoos. But it's just like this. Back then, if they could have access to what we have now, what do you think they'd be using? They'd be using what we're using now. So I go with that way of thinking. And then, we have living modern times, we have jobs, we have all that. So using the best things and the safest things, that's my choice there. But I would be interested in doing them to show people, how they were done and how they, back then in like a setting, like in a show or something like that. That would be something I'd be interested in. But doing these subjects like this, I'm doing it with the modern methods.
Well, maybe if we get back to tattoo conventions anytime, we can set that up, man. Maybe bring you in and set up a booth next to the Needlejig booths and do some sort of a presentation or something a little more cultural and involving the history of tattooing. That would be.
I'd love to do that. I can bring people with me, and I have one of my friends. He's up in Oklahoma. His name's Ace Greenwood, and we play stickball together. It's we're stickball players. It's the oldest American sport is a lacrosse game called stickball, or we call it kabucha toli. But anyway, he's that's actually what he does for the Chickasaw people in Oklahoma. He actually travels around teaching people about these things, and he's one of my friends that has helped me do research into the mound building culture, which is America's first civilization. And I don't want to get too far in that because we'll be talking that for an hour. But North America, America was a huge civilization before Europe actually came here, and it was a mound culture, and it was also connected to Mayans and Aztec people and the pyramid culture. So that's my focus, is that time period and the tattoos that I am doing. And you can follow me on Facebook, Billy Spacey Lyons, or you can follow me on Instagram, and you can actually see some of this work happening now because I'm actually doing several subjects currently.
I'll try to remember to add those links into the description of this video later.
I'll tell you what, let's switch from here, and I'll tell you about these movie things. So we've done the TV thing, we've done the motorcycle thing, we've done
yeah. Because I mean, as long as I've known you, you've had a baby smooth face here, and now you've got this growth going on. So tell us a story behind that.
All right, so I'm not a big facial hair guy, and I've never been able to properly grow a beard until I gotten older in life. So I've somehow wandered into acting in the past year or so, and I did the TV show thing, and I've done some acting when I was younger. My two brothers, Bob Henry and Earl Henry, they were actors in The Last of the Mohicans back in the 90s. They were my brother Earl. He was stand-in for the lead actor, and Chigash Cook, I think that was him. Or Uncas, I can't remember. It's been a while. Last Mohicans was an awesome movie, but Eric Schweg is a good friend of ours, and he was the lead actor in the movie. And Earl and him became close, and so the movie thing started happening between us and our family. They were in a couple documentaries after that, and then I got a part in a movie called Gun and Betty Lou's Handbag, and then I thought about acting, and they wanted me to keep trying out for parts, but I lived in on a reservation in rural Mississippi, so it was kind of hard to probably do that without financial or them taking me in or leaving. And I didn't want to leave the reservation. I was exactly where I wanted to be. So I got away from it, and I focused mainly on music because that was my thing, was playing music. And I was in a band called Sneaky Tree. I'm still in that band. I'm actually recording a record right now, and I just did a soundtrack for a movie that I was had the lead role in. The movie's called John Nieto, American Spirit Walk, and it's a movie documentary. It's coming out on Netflix, hopefully in January. We just finished soundtrack, and because of COVID, you know, having studio time, I needed to be in a larger studio to do the mixing and stuff than my home studio can allow. That we were supposed to be out now. The movie's supposed to be out now, but we're slated for January. But the movie's about a man named John Nieto, and John Nieto is one of the greatest painters of our time. And if you want to look us up on Facebook, American Spirit Walk, John Nieto, American Spirit Walk, it'll tell you more about the movie. But it basically, I played John in the movie, and there's no speaking parts in it. That's the beauty of this movie. It's all visual, and the story's actually told by John himself. And there's interviews in there. And John Nieto is a Native American painter. John Nieto, we don't create as people, you know, we emulate creating, because we can't. Creating is taking something out of nothing and making something out of it that you can tangibly see or touch or whatever. But we still like to use the word, and I'm going to use that word because he did create a style of painting, and it's a Southwestern painting that you've seen with the pastels, and it's like if you look at them, it's all color. It's not any dark outlines or anything. He paints all these Native American Southwestern stuff. And some of his paintings are, I mean, you see the painting behind me, it's a pretty big one. I like painting big myself, but his paintings are huge. So a lot of them are. But John was an amazing, man, painter. He developed a style. He went to, and he did it on his own. He found himself through taking a spirit walk. And in Native American culture, when you take a spirit walk, you're finding yourself, you're finding who you are. And it's a pivotal time in your life where you were this person who did not know who you were, and then all of a sudden you were that person you should be, you know, and you knew it. You knew how to be, you know.
Now, does that involve peyote or no?
Well, actually, those are different ceremonies that are peyote ceremonies that go along with the Native American church. And I have never done a peyote ceremony, and I've never felt inclined to do that. They go along with ceremonies Lakotas. They do like the Sundance. My brother actually goes and does the Sundance. I don't do Sundance, but I fully support it. I am adopted into a Lakota family. Mama Bear, Chris Swick, they call me brother and son. They live in South Dakota. I go see them every year. I think they're watching now. So hello, Mama Bear and Chris Swick. Yes, some cultures use hallucinogenics, and I think they're used probably more, for a spiritual journey. But John didn't do that. John went to France, and he did independent studies at the Louvre, and he was over there, and he's painting, and everybody dug his paintings. Like, wow, you're amazing. What are you doing over here? He's like, well, I thought this was the place to be. He's like, you're from America. That's where we want to be. So he's like, I got to go back to America. So we went back to America, and then he took his grandmother or his mother, I'm not sure, watch the movie. He'll tell that story. But he didn't know what to paint. He knew that he had this paint he needed to paint, but he didn't know what he should paint. So he went to they're Muscalero Apache. So he went to dance and traditional dance, and some people call them powwows. So I just call them get-togethers. But he had his grandmother looked at him and said, "John, why don't you paint my people? You know, will you paint my people?" And then right then, I got chills just talking about it, man, because I got to play this guy. You know, I got to play John Nieto. And for me, as an artist, as a Native American artist, that is just, that's like, you know, now I got chill bumps talking about it, man. I mean, just getting to play him was just a huge honor. I got to be in his studio and paint with his paints on a canvas in his studio. Can you imagine? You know, what that was like for me. You know,
No, that's deep, man. I mean, that's
I grew up about him. You know, as a young kid, I knew who John Nieto was, but all of a sudden I'm in his house painting on his deal, and I've devoted 50 years of my life to being an artist and being, you know, it's just a huge honor. Then all of a sudden I'm playing him. You know, we shot the film about 2.5 weeks out in different locations in New Mexico. That's where he's from. So we wanted to show different scenes where he's walking through and you know, in character, I'm wearing all black. I'm wearing a cowboy hat. I'm wearing 40-year-old cowboy boots, and I'm doing these different dream sequences of John doing a spirit walk. And I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but basically the spirit walk is John went through a series of strokes, and when he's out for a long time. And what we're doing, we're playing out what John was doing in his mind. He was on a spirit walk, and then when he came back, John actually came out of that stroke, and he totally. It's like he was painting before, but his painting just transcended. And for his last years, he did some of the most, I mean, just off the wall, tremendous, beautiful work. Please go check out John Nieto's work after you see this, and you'll see what I'm saying.
Now, I lived in Arizona for almost 15 years, and I got to tell you, I did not know who John Nieto was. But right now I'm looking at nietofineart.com, and I'm very familiar with his style of painting because it's everywhere. I'm not sure what I was seeing was from him directly, but he's obviously influenced a great deal of artists.
He actually invented that style, and it's copied by everybody. Everybody's got a grandma who's got a bathroom somewhere, has got some pastel Southwestern art on their wall. He invented that, and he had a lot of people that were copying him. He had some rivals. He had a rival, man, that actually was trying to kill him and tried to kill him. And so John had bodyguards, you know, watching his back. That's how intense it was. See, in Native American culture, you know, we don't play, man. We get down, man. You know, when the time comes, it's time to do something. Yeah, and you see how beautiful his artwork. Before, John didn't use black. In his early years, he didn't use black. He used all the colors to make black. But he did it with color. And if you see like the foxes on there and all that, you know, you see it. It's all color, man. Mm-hmm. All color based. But when he practically, you know, lost himself, and he was had a stroke, and he didn't know who he was or anything like that, when he came out of it and started painting again, he started using black. You know, one of the songs that Reggie is my partner, who also is a filmmaker, Reggie Thomas. Me and him wrote a song called American Spirit Walk, and all these will be available when the movie comes out on a soundtrack. And he talks about the color black, and but he did not rely on the color black. He relied on color to actually make his art, and then the black showed up in it through the color. You know, it was not his whole attention there.
No, he has a really strong command of color. Amazing use of color, and you know, complementary, contrasting. It's his paintings invoke emotion. You know, I know what I feel when I look at him. I'm assuming that's what he intended, but paintings.
He did a lot of abstract stuff in his later time. He had this beautiful abstract painting that was just about done. It wasn't signed yet. And that was and it was like, well, we can't sell it. It's not signed, you know. You know, that's the thing about it. and he died before he could sign it. But those bow warriors and all that, man. There's a video of him that I studied for a long time. That I in the movie, and during that scene, I was emulating him painting and watching him paint. Man, he just went to it, and just did it. Man, he just knew everything. Everything was there. It was like he didn't study anything. He just had it. It was all in him, you know. So that's the ultimate freehand, wouldn't you say?
I'm sitting here. I mean, I'm loving talking to you because I always do. I'm sitting here in the back of my head, though. I'm almost wondering if there's anybody even out there still watching. Not that that really matters, because I'm just, you know, enjoying a great talk with an old friend.
Well, we've got somebody from Brazil, somebody from New Mexico, but you know, you do want to leave them wanting more, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, it just dawned on me though that like, oh, hey, we're live, and I'm just in this deep conversation, and I even forget that there might be other people out there trying to observe or get something out of this. It's
it's okay. Most of the times I do podcasts, man, we talk for about 2.5 hours. You know, and I'm like, man, who listens to a podcast for 2.5 hours? But I got a phone call from a very fantastic human being. His name is Michael Lichter, and Michael Lichter is one of the most famous photographers in motorcycledom ever. And he's world famous photographer. He called me up, and I did a show. I had my paintings and my artwork, and I paint helmets. I had those in one of the shows at Sturgis one year. So I've got to know Michael, and but he called me up, and he's like, "Man, I just listened to this podcast interview with you on a friend of ours, Danger Dan, his podcast, and man, I just loved it." I was like, "You sat there and listened to that for 2.5 hours?" So I was like, "Wow, okay, well, cool, thanks, man." But it was a great honor that he called me up. So yeah, these are necessary. I'm very excited for it to be a part of this series and get to share the things in my life. To tell you the truth, what I would like for people to know about me is that even though I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, I did have a lot of great opportunities along the way till now. People that took interest in me, and there's countless of people there's a lot of people that's taken interest in me in my life that realized that I had the talent that I have, or I had something special to give, and they helped me get here. And if you have aspirations to do things in your life, why not do them? Why not try to do them? Even if you fail, I mean, you know, you got to fail to get better. You know, if you want to play guitar, well, play guitar. If you're 35 and you want to play guitar, go buy a guitar and play the guitar. You know, if you want to do anything that you aspire to do, you're the only one that's keeping you from doing it. And that's why I can do a bunch of things, man. It's not like you can't, you know, get out and do things. Get out and finish things. That's the thing about it. If you start something, finish it.
I absolutely agree with you. But at the same time, I think that a lot of people just, they're lacking the ability to recognize opportunities, you know, like we all encounter different opportunities on a regular basis throughout our life, and taking that leap, or it doesn't even need to be a leap, just a step in that direction.
Right.
You never know where it's going to go. Just like our conversation today, you know, we just had a few things we wanted to talk about, but you know, I had no idea we're going to be off on John Nieto, and it just, let the world take you where it wants to take you, you know, and then try and be aware of your surroundings and make positive choices. But if you don't recognize the opportunities and take action on them, you're going to be in the same place, you know, a week from now, a month from now, and a year from now. So
turn that TV off too, man. You know, when I know back in the 90s, I never watched the TV at all. I caught a movie here and there, but put mindless entertainment out of the way some. You know, don't Netflix binge all the time, or whatever you're doing. You know, take time to actually go do something, you know, or put something into a painting or anything creative or anything. But
I haven't had cable TV in probably 13, 14 years. I mean, we have Netflix and whatever the couple other ones are, maybe Hulu or whatever, you know, and the wife and I will watch a show maybe 4 or 5 nights a week. We'll follow a certain episode. Maybe, like I said, maybe 4 or 5 nights a week, and that's it. And the rest of it is reading, learning, trying to better myself. While I'm sitting here this morning waiting for this to start, I can't pull it up and show you, but I'm deep diving into my IT nerd guy, trying to learn how to configure and set up an entire new phone system for the company here. Because it piques my interest and I want it done. I could pay somebody to do it, but I need to know how it works. So I'm going down that rabbit hole myself. So I'll probably screw it up and need some professional help, but hey, I got to try.
Right. I'm with you. I like to know the processes. Well, going back to the beard thing, I've, after I did this movie, I started getting other people, talking to me about doing movies. And then I've got another one I'm reading for. I've got 2 I'm reading for next year. One's called Scarpa. And do you remember Mississippi Burning, that movie? Well, this is a movie that's similar to that. It talks about the same finding civil rights workers. So I'm playing a part in that movie. And although I like to play roles of being a Native American, I don't necessarily want to be typecast. So I want to do other parts. So I decided to grow a beard out and try that. So the guy I'm going to play in this movie, I'm supposed to play a guy named Jimmy, and I'm actually a cook in a diner that doesn't necessarily allow black people to eat in front, and I'm supposed to play a person who's angry about it, and I got to get them out of there. So it's definitely something different from who I am as a person, but for the movie, I think it's a great opportunity because it really dives into what happened to the 3 civil rights workers back in 1960s here in Mississippi, and it sheds some light on how things were, at the time. So that's a historical movie that I'm going to get to be a part. But then I got another movie called The Dead Elvis Club, and I'm going to be playing either guitar or bass in a band in the 70s, and we're a rock band that happens to become a backup band for an Elvis impersonator. So it's a lot of fun.
Just a bunch of unique experiences, man, and each thing builds a little piece inside you and adds to your completion as a human. And it's like you don't necessarily need to become a full-blown actor or anything.
Right. I agree.
You could dip your toe in that water and check it out and try it. Obviously, you've done that in a million different, ventures already. All this time, I see you're just practically hugging that guitar there, man. I'm hoping at some point you're going to pick it up and play a little something for me.
Right. I'm in a band called Sneaky Tree. I've been in this band since '93. I began my tattoo journey so I can play music, like I said before. And, to me, really everything's pointed about singing and writing and performing and being on stage. And I'm working on a record right now with aside from the one I did for with my good friend Reggie Thomas for the soundtrack. I'm working on it now. I'm going to play a song for you here in a minute called Geronimo. And to me, man, that's all I really want to do. I really just want to sing and play music, man. But I've built up these businesses and all that, and life gets in the way. And now
but you're a storyteller. You're a storyteller. There's no other way around it. Maybe through art, maybe through music, maybe through whatever. But your character is a storyteller. That's kind of obvious, man.
I appreciate it. I decided that I'm not going to quit tattooing. I'm going to tattoo till I can't see anymore. Then I'm just going to sign my name on people. But I decided these next 10 years that I'm going to put out as many songs as I can and play, perform as much as I can. When I get done with this record, I'm going to go out. Hopefully the world will get back to normal. I'll go out and play Sturgis. I'll go play Daytona and play Nashville and wherever I I can get booked to play shows with, and you know, that's what I'm looking forward to now. I've done my time doing other things. I want to do what I felt like I was meant to do, and that's to play music. So I'm going to play a song for you called Geronimo. It's going to be on my new record whenever I finish that damn thing, but it will be available. But the song, all my songs I do tell stories, or I talk about where I've been in life and all that, or whatever. But this song is about a guy. He's a Cherokee, and he was on the Trail of Tears, and he lost his family on the Trail of Tears. He lost his wife and his son on the Trail of Tears. And then when he got to Oklahoma, he's like, I don't have any reason to be here. I have no family. I'm just going to drink alcohol and see the West. You know, I'm going to go find this guy, Geronimo, man. He's supposed to be, you know, a real Indian, you know, and whatever, you know, and maybe the timelines don't match with Geronimo, but that's not the point. So he goes off on this anywhere journey. He gets on a train, and he gets down in Texas or somewhere like that, and gets thrown off the train for being drunk, and ends up being a hero. And then somehow goes to see his wife and kids. So I'm going to play that song for you. How about that?
Sounds good, man.
All right. jailhouse and let me in a cell. Just a phone on my way to hell. So I can see myself just a day I need to die. Stronger than the sheriff said you're as pretty as dead, but this is what I'll do. He wants a man with the bombs hands on. So run, yeah. Where do you run to? Where do you go? You know you can fight, you like a man, like you like a girl. Where do you run to? Where do you go? You know you can fight, you like a man, like you like a girl.
Woo! Mark, you got to unmute your claps.
All right. I think the streaming audio tweaked that a little bit, so we might want to see if you can send us a recording of that. Maybe we'll dub it over it, so it'll look like you're lip syncing.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely do that for you. Okay, I'll do that
Yeah.
when we get done with the interview. I'll do that and send it right back to you.
Awesome, man. Wow, good time this morning, brother.
I had a great time, man. Hey, if y'all come look me up, man. You know, I'm right here in Meridian, Mississippi, but I'm also I have a tattoo shop in Sturgis, South Dakota, named Rock and Roll Tattoo. I'm about to close my shop down here in Meridian, and I want to be in a new location, which combines my bike shop, and I'm going to call it Rock and Roll Tattoo because I want to do something different. I want to do something fun and different, and it's going to be an art space where we're going to have an art gallery in there. We have a stage in there, so we'll have live performances. We're also, as far as tattoos go, we're doing custom tattooing, of course, and then we do tattoo removal. We use the tattoo away method. That's working out really well, going hand in hand with what we're doing as far as tattooing goes. We have an eraser now. It's awesome. But we're working on that. I'm hoping to be there by the beginning of the year. But if you want to be a part of what we're doing, look me up at Billy Spacey Lyons on Facebook. I have a couple of accounts on there. You can reach out to me there. You can also catch me on Instagram, which is probably my favorite. And hey, man, I'm really glad to be here today. Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you so much for working with me all these years with Needlejig. I love Needlejig. I really love the things you've done and the innovation and your passion for making tattooing much better. It's been a great positive thing in my life. And I want to formally thank you here right now for working
Thank
with me.
you, sir. You've been a pleasure to know you all these years, and hopefully we got decades and decades more. And someday when the world gets back to normal, I'd like to get down there and check out this new spot you're working on, man.
I would love that. I definitely want to get more and do more in the tattoo industry. I've specifically avoided it after a period of time. I quit going to conventions and all that. I just felt like it wasn't the place for me to be at the time. But now I'd like to go out there, and I like to meet young people and see some old friends and talk tattoos, man. Let's do some tattoos together. Let's
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, conventions, there's pros, there's cons, there's But I don't get to make the rules. So the best I can do is, I can make the best of it. I can go out there. I can enjoy myself. I can see my friends. I can make new friends. I can get inspired by many other artists, and hopefully maybe inspire a few myself. So that's what it's about, man. It's just passing information on. Rick Walters yelled at me. Well, not yelled at me, but corrected me at one point years and years and years ago. He used to share secrets with me, him, Catfish Carl, and a few others back in the day. And at one point, I was sitting there like, oh, man, hey, thanks. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. And then Rick Walters gave me this death stare that only Rick could do. And he looked at me and he's like, you don't get it, do you? And I was like, what? He's like, and he realized he was aging as his whole generation was. And he said, we don't share this information with you so that it can die with you. Kind of my job to pass it on to the next group. So that's what I enjoy nowadays, man, is I only like to share it with those that I consider deserving, people that take the business serious, they're not in the business for the wrong reasons. But when I meet those people, man, I'll share everything I can with them.
Right. Well, you know what? I was going to say, they're still out there. You got Judy Parker out there. She comes up to Sturgis. She runs a place up there. Judy Parker's still out there painting her little heart out.
Yeah, and, I've got one of her paintings here from not that long ago myself, and message her on Facebook regularly. So, yeah.
I love Judy because back in the day when I was younger, she'd have all these. Remember the art fusion stuff? Mm-hmm. She loved to work with other artists and all that. And she loved. I mean, she's a wonderful artist. Judy Parker is a wonderful artist, and she's a wonderful person. Jackie Gresham, she's still out there. She just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Jackie! And she's still drawing. We talk business, we talk game all the time. She's always, it's the people are still out there, and it's up to us or these young people. We're out here, me and you. We're out here. You want to learn something? Talk to us. Reach out to us. Like you said, we don't want the secrets to die with us. I didn't get my jaw broken for nothing, man. I want to share my experiences and help young people.
Not to poke my head in, but you keep talking about Judy Parker and people trying to figure out. Wow, I'm glad I get to edit myself. Judy Parker's doing a paint jam with Guy Aitchison on the 13th at 9:00. That's open for all the artists. So if you want to paint alongside Judy Parker and Guy and friends, then that's that's 2 Sundays from now.
Cool. Maybe we can get a link in the description below.
And that's technology at work because, before you had to travel to a tattoo convention to draw beside her, in the art fusion thing. Now you can do it on the internet. I mean, how can you not beat that? Yeah, no, it's this whole pandemic thing is definitely forced people to think outside the box and to, right.
It's pushed technology forward a little faster than I think it normally would have moved at.
It's hard. It's still hard to get used to because I want to go perform and do a concert so bad.
Yeah, but think about this though. Like before all this, would we be doing video teleconferencing and streaming? No, we would still be doing things the old way. We'd be getting on planes, flying, seeing each other at shows, having telephone conversations. But I'm sorry, this is the Jetsons right now. We are freaking looking at each other live and talking to each other through technology. It's awesome.
I think that we're going to keep on doing this, and then once we can start gathering in places again, it'll just be part of it,
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. It's just a new tool in our box. That's all.
Exactly, it is a new tool. It is,
Speaking of, you'll be able to use it again,
right? And it's always going to be there long after we're gone. My son reminded me, "Hey, Dad, the internet's going to live past us, right?" I was like, "Oh man, you're right." So. Way after we're turned into another kind of organism, there'll be pictures of us TikToking.
Not me. You will not find me TikToking, man.
I'm not a good dancer like that. I can dance, but they that whole shuffling thing, man, it's mesmerizing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
as white as it comes when it comes to dancing. I just, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I would like to give a couple shout outs here. First off, I like to say, hey to my beautiful wife, Crystal Cabello. She's down in Daytona right now visiting with my family, our family down there, with my son, Dakota Hawk. He's 2. He's loving life. He's dancing his little butt off. And then I'd like to give a shout out to my master, Jackie Gresham. Thank you so much again for all you've done for me. And thank you so much for being not only my mentor, but my friend. And I'd like to shout out to Famous Gabe down in Florida, Hula Moon, Dave Canoy, and the Ink Spot crew. And that's basically it. You know, I could shout out all day long, but those
Right on, brother.
helped me get here. I appreciate it.
You got to
John.
respect those, it's family.
Yep. Anaya Nieto and John's son, I'd like to give a shout out to him. Thank you so much, my friend, for becoming not only a friend but a brother, and thank you for including me on your dad's life story. Thank you, Marc, for including me on this. I appreciate it very much.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for joining.
Ain't over with yet. We'll talk.
Okay, that's the official close. Oof.